speaker is again an international one, so I'll try to switch into English. I'll give my best. Mushon Zer Aviv is an artist and media activist based in Tel Aviv and New York, and as far as I read. And right now he's here in Berlin, and we're happy that he had the time to stop by to talk about AdNauseam. A project to disturb the ones who collect personal information. So it kind of relates to the talk that we had here before. Welcome, Mushon.
Danke. And thank you to Sandra and Geraldine for making this happen. So I'm very excited to come speak with you about AdNauseam. So AdNauseam, I'm going to talk about one solution to kind of a different solution to the question of privacy and data mining. This is a collaborative project that I've been doing with Daniel Howe and Helen Nissenbaum. And it's about tracking. So you know how it works. You browse the web, trackers track you, and the trackers are informing the watchers, right? This is a problem, as some of you might agree, and a problem that started to be addressed seriously a couple of years ago in the US with an initiative that had the White House, Google, and other advertising companies committing to supporting the Do Not Track standard. So what is the Do Not Track standard? It's this thing that you might have come across so this is how it looks in Firefox. It's just like the robots.txt file that you might have in websites that say, I don't want this page to be indexed. It's a way for you to tell your browser, to tell websites, I don't want to be tracked. Okay? So I can check the checkbox, and then no one would track me, right? Okay. So as this committee was working, some problems started to happen. Some of the civil rights or consumer rights representatives on this committee started to quit for reasons of lack of viable path to consensus. As it was going on, the group had not only failed to agree on a definition of the term tracking, but could not even agree on what problem it sought to prevent. Okay, at some point, it looked like the ad networks would actually have a majority in the group, and then they tried to kill it. It almost worked, and then what we've been seeing was the slow death of the Do Not Track standard. And some would say, you know, what's the problem, right? We have all read and agreed to these terms. We've all checked the checkbox. But when it comes to ad networks, we haven't even signed anything, right? We have no agreement with them, not even legally. So there are different approaches to problems like that. Some would engage with the idea and just like try not to engage and hope for the best. Others would engage within terms set unilaterally by other parties and just suck it up, you know, knowing that you're being screwed, but that's what you get. Others, which I'm sure this room is full of, are taking the DIY approach through personal individual resistance by using personal privacy tools as the opt-out version. What we're trying to suggest is a communal circumvention. We're trying to pick up a fight. And that's where AdNauseam comes in. I'll let the video explain.
As data hoarding corporations keep sabotaging the constitution of the Do Not Track standard, and ad networks keep selling our profiles behind our backs, we are left with no choice but to fight back. From the studios that brought you TrackMeNot, the browser extension that keeps searching to obfuscate your search queries, comes yet another data obfuscation plugin, AdNauseam, clicking ads so you don't have to. The AdNauseam plugin works in concert with your favorite ad blocker. Every ad blocked is then silently clicked by AdNauseam, confusing your data trackers by virtually liking all ads. Within your browser, the AdNauseam add-on collects and visualizes your clickstream over time, giving you a small glimpse of the data you passively generate. AdNauseam works in the background and does not interfere with your browsing. Point your browser at this URL and install AdNauseam now. Spread the word and help us code as we work to make AdNauseam better and to bring it to more people and more browsers. Finally, to the ad industry, we would like to say it is time to be respectful of our privacy expectations. Let's work together towards an honest and meaningful Do Not Track standard. Until that day comes, be sure we will keep pushing your buttons. All of them.
Thanks. So we're trying to get a taste of data mining. We're trying to see what they see. We're trying to see, to let them see what we are seeing or what we are not seeing, what we are clicking, while we are not aware that we're clicking. We're trying to create the big picture that they're looking for. There's this myth of big data that knows everything about us. We're actually trying to check how big can big data really get. So I mentioned this term obfuscation. What do I mean by that? So a short video.
Have we a count of prisoners?
We haven't made the final count, sir.
I bring a message from your master, Marcus Licinius Crassus, commander of Italy. By command of his most merciful excellency, your lives are to be spared. Slaves you were, and slaves you remain. But the terrible penalty of crucifixion has been set aside on the single condition that you identify the body or the living person of the slave called Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm
I hope you've all seen that tier. So, as Brenton and Nissenbaum define it, obfuscation is the production, inclusion, addition, or communication of misleading, ambiguous, or false data in an effort to evade, distract, or confuse data gatherers or diminish the reliability and value of data aggregations. And this is a very different approach than the one that we've been seeing arise from crypto culture. This is kind of the opposite approach. Rather than hiding, rather than stopping expression, we are calling for extra expression. Like people are going online to express themselves, let them express themselves. But let them do it in a way that is just makes sense for people, doesn't make sense for machines. And we've actually seen examples for that in nature, not a lot, but this is called the white cyclosa trash line spider. What it actually does, it sculpts selfies. So it creates sculptures of itself on its web as a way of getting his predators to misdirect his predators, much like we're suggesting. So there are a lot of reasons to obfuscate, and we've been, in longer talks we go over them, but with AdNauseam we're kind of touching on many of them. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to disturb the all too cozy harmony between advertisers and ad networks. This relationship that they have that is informed by this myth of big data, that ad networks will provide the data for the direct targeting, kind of trying to poke holes in the mythical clouds of big data. Yeah, some of you might argue this is unethical. And to that we would argue this is the weapon of the weak, right? Ideally, we would have preferred the do not track standard to actually hold and to be respected. This is not where we are right now, and that's why we are fighting back. In the cases where the noise is undetected, then obviously this is providing some security through obscurity in that sense. In the cases that the noise is detected, in a lot of cases, because of this activity, it would be identified as a robot, which is also good because then the data is actually trashed. And in some cases, it is detected and understood that there's something fishy going on, and that's also good for us because that's a way of saying we're actually fighting back. We're actually not appreciating what you're doing here, because that's a way for us to kind of raise against this notion of obedience that is embedded in interfaces within this power asymmetry that we have. You know, one of the Bibles of user experience is Steve Krug's "Don't Make Me Think," and we can definitely understand why you would want to minimize cognition to a minimum when you're trying to explain something. But it got to the point that it's that our cognition is minimized when our interests are in line. One of the terms that is used a lot in user experience is affordance, a potential action that is made possible by a given object or environment, especially one that is made easily discoverable. For example, the door. So do you pull, do you push? The interface can tell you that. So how are systems affording our commodified browsing attention? Can we flip this upside down? What is the affordance that our data is signaling? We can actually create an interface for them that in which they need to afford us, right? Can we deliberately overspend and reset the price of the tracking attention? You don't win by having the right answer, but by reframing the question. So can we answer, can an answer reframe the question? Can an answer that is just flooded with information reframe the question of tracking? This goes in line with a wider interest that I have in this term disambiguation. And we've seen it come through computer science, we've seen it come through Wikipedia. Rather than disambiguation of culture, what I think we should do right now is re-ambiguation, right? We need to have more ambiguity in our lives. This is within our digital lives, right? And the whole obfuscation path is a part of it. So Helen and Finn just released a book about obfuscation that I really recommend. We've run obfuscation workshops. One of them was here in Berlin in the last Transmediale. And I really encourage you to go to adnauseam.io to install the plugin. Right now it's only for Firefox, but we're working on a Chrome extension, which would be really interesting to see whether Google blocks it or not. If they block it, that's awesome. If they don't block it, that's also awesome. And we would really love to get more people involved. So if you have some extra fingers to code for us, we would love that. So go to adnauseam.io, and thank you very much.
Well, we thank you, Mushon. Questions, comments? Yes, over here.
Yeah, so I really like the idea, but I don't really see how it relates to tracking because the ad network still sees every website that you visit. And I also don't think that it works as obfuscation unless everybody does it, because it's just such a strong signal if a user clicks every ad. So the question I have is, do you think it will have any financial impact on the ad networks? So what are your thoughts about that?
So in the latest Transmediale, in one of the talks that we gave, someone from the audience blamed Daniel, my partner, of being a terrorist, because we are basically something like that can break the whole business model of the web. So yeah, unless a wider community uses that, that wouldn't have the financial impact. But we're proposing that, first of all, we would love everybody to use it. Second is, this is just one initiative within a wider range of initiatives that under the rubric of obfuscation. So an earlier collaboration between Helen and Daniel is called Track Me Not, which is a plugin for the browser that continuously searches. So it sends more and more queries. And some of them are your actual queries. Other are just coming from RSS feeds and random words. And there's a lot of room for creativity, and that's why we're running these workshops, to try to think of how are we creating data, how can we think about it, how can we change the way, what data means for us, what does it mean for trackers, how can we change this balance. As for for the tracking of clicks, yes, the click stream is not what we are addressing through AdNauseam. It can be addressed through other plugins or other initiatives. We are addressing the signals that ad clicks generate.
There's another question. Maybe we can already switch to that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I would like to say what we see is a new development in the advertising advertising world, online advertising world. This is that it's no longer run through ad networks, that they start to implement into the content management systems those ads. So it's harder to identify them for the ad blockers. And I like your project very much because maybe that keeps alive the old business model of them and prevents this coming up, because that would be much more harder to sort out then. So thank you for your project.
Thanks. I agree with you.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? Over here? Yeah.
Awesome project, thank you. How do you ensure, though, that the ones who suffer are actually the ad networks and not the people who embed ads? I mean, if I were to run a small website and suddenly the ad networks saw someone coming along clicking on every ad, they'd probably go, that's fishy. Maybe we should do something about that. Maybe, you know, the website owner is trying to generate clicks.
The punk answer to your question is we don't care. Yeah,
I figured it as much.
Well, there's definitely going to be problems when you break the internet's business model, which we would like to do, because we really believe that the fact that the current business model of the web is based on surveillance is fucked. So yeah, some people are going to suffer in the process, but we see a longer future that is better. So yeah, this is going to be painful.
Thank you.
Okay. One more question over here.
So if you're trying to break the current business model of the internet, what alternative business model do you propose?
Well, trust. There are quite a bunch of business models that are currently crushed under the prevalence of the surveillance business model. I do believe that they can survive. People have always had interest in letting other people know about what they're doing, and trust capitalism. That is my message to you tonight.
All right then. Thank you a lot, Mushon. Keep up the good work. Destroy the old business models.